Welcome back. This is the 5th chapter of Bridal Traffic, and the title of this chapter is Tackling On-Page Factors. My name is Jason Hennessy, and with me is Chris Watson, and we're going to jump right in. Like the name says, on-page is everything that you see on your page. Anything you can personally control with the source code. Off-page is everything that comes from other sites. And we're going to get into all of the off-page elements in the next chapter. But first, let's talk about something that I would say accounts for about 15% of your search engine optimization strategy, and that would be all of the on-page variables. So Chris, why don't you start from the top with the page title? Tell them a little bit about that and what that means.
Yeah, sure. This is a little bit techie, but don't worry about it. We're going to be giving you information that you can pass on to Webmaster, or if you use Composer, as we gave you in the tools section of this DVD, you can put that into Composer and it can change the significant things about your site for you. Just remember that on-page factors alone don't really make you that competitive. I think the stat you gave Jason before was about 15%, and that was for competitive keywords. So if you're going after a keyword that has lots of competition, these on-page factors represent about 15% of the significance of your SEO play. Whereas if you're going after lesser competitive keywords, it represents a whole lot more, like up to 50%. And the reason for that is that because it's just not that hard to compete in certain areas, so that these on-page factors actually allow you to get in the game a lot easier. So in some instances, we've been known to just put title tags and meta tags and meta descriptions onto a page and it just strikes. And that's for lesser competitive keywords, often in long tail. On the flip side of that, we've had to build pages whereby we do hardly any of the on-page elements such as title tags and meta descriptions, and what we focused on is building links, and we found that many of the competitors in those industries haven't done the strenuous link building, and they think that their on-page factors are enough to keep them competitive, and what we found is that the links that we're building will trump those on-page factors that they've built. And the reason why I mention that is that that's the difference between the 15% and the 50% significance. It represents only 15% for competitive keywords, whereby the links that you're building will be more significant than the on-page factors, whereas with the less competitive keywords, it will represent more like 50% of the significance because it's less competitive and you don't have to rely that heavily on inbound links coming into your page.
And before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of this chapter, we've got to make an assumption that you already have a website. And everything that we're going to talk about is assuming that your website is live. However, if you don't have a website, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You now have the opportunity to build it from the get-go the right way. You can also learn from some of the things that we're about to share with you and apply them. Because there's a lot of people who have websites and think that there's no way that they can make them search-friendly. But that's not really the case.
So let's get into the title tags. This is really simple. Every website that you look at, if you see where I'm pointing the cursor right now, this thing, at the very top where it says SEObook.com, SEO Training Made Easy, that's the title tag. That's the very first thing that Google sees when it goes to your site. And again, Google sends out these things called spiders, and they look at almost every website in the world, and they report back with their findings. So you have to tell Google what you want to rank for. And you have the luxury of doing your keyword research and then choosing the keywords you want to rank for. What we find with title tags is that this is your first opportunity to put your hand up and say, I want to be competitive for this keyword. But don't forget, do what we told you to do and showed you how to do in the previous chapter about keyword research, and make sure you're ranking for the right keywords and you're choosing the right keywords.
Correct. And let me mention something. Now, I said that on-page factors account for 15% of your total SEO strategy. Out of this 15%, title tags are about 10% of it. That's how important the title tag is, and how important that you have to make sure that you put the proper keywords in the front of the title tag closer to the beginning. Now, I'm going to say that again because that's a very important tip. Make sure that when you write your title tags, the page that you want to rank for a certain keyword, put the keyword to the very front of the title tag, because it's going to make a big difference in the SERPs, the search engine result pages for Google. Now, if we go to Google right now and we do a search for the keyword wedding, the first company that you see is the knot.com. Well, what you notice is the first keyword that they have on their title tag is wedding dresses. And then they have a hyphen, wedding cakes. And then another hyphen, wedding planning. So they have the keyword in there 3 times. Now, not to mention they also have, over 1 million links pointing back to their site, so they're considered the authority within the niche. However, their title tags are probably optimized because they have the keyword in there 3 times, and it's focusing on the keyword wedding. And it's a 64-character limit that they have.